She's a 32-year-old female. She says, my boyfriend, 35 male, lied to me about having HSV2, which is herpes simplex virus 2. How do I handle this? I love my boyfriend more than anything. And he and I met a little over 5 months ago, and it's been fireworks ever since. I'm a single mom to a toddler, and I was living with my parents since I didn't want to put my son into daycare while I worked. How I became a single mom is a bit of extenuating circumstances. My ex-fiance, who is the father of my son, has PTSD from being deployed to Afghanistan twice, and after self-medicating behind my back while we were together, he lost his mind and has been in and out of psych wards ever since. This is likely why my parents have been so supportive and helpful throughout my pregnancy and my child's life. I didn't have a car since I wasn't working, except for here and there. I sell on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, etc., etc. And my boyfriend has several vehicles, one of which he has generously allowed me to use 24/7 without restriction. He's also basically moved me and my toddler into his house. He works a lot, 6 days a week, but we get to see each other on the evenings. He also gave me his credit card, and he pays for whatever I want/need. He even told me on my birthday to quote unquote pick something nice out for yourself, but try to keep it under $800, quote unquote, which was just insanely generous. I do my very best to do whatever I can to make his life easier. When he comes home at lunch to see me, I have his lunch ready made for him. I start his coffee in the morning. I keep his laundry and his house clean. I really do my best to make sure he doesn't stress. On top of that, he's a wonderful, kind man who is a gentleman in every way imaginable. I just love him so much. On to the bad part. When we first met, I let him know I was recently tested, and while I have HSV1, the cold sore herpes, I don't have anything else. I asked him about his quote-unquote status, and he told me he hasn't been tested recently, but he just got out of a long-term messy marriage/relationship about a year before and hasn't dated. So I asked him if he'd be willing to get tested again, and he paid for it, but he never went. However, he assured me he didn't have anything. Cut to 2 nights ago, which is about 5 months later, and he takes a deep breath and tells me he has HSV too. And the guilt was eating him up inside, but he was worried that if he told me in the beginning, I'd reject him. And he's right, I would have. He said he had to tell me now because he is having a small outbreak. Literally looks like a tiny ant bite, an ant bite. And he already rejected me sexually the night before and figured I would feel self-conscious if he didn't have S with me again that night. And so he told me, which means he lied to me about it throughout our entire relationship. And while he didn't have outbreaks for years until 2 nights ago, there's a chance he could have passed it on to me without even giving me the option to accept the risk or not. Listen to this. I gave a lot of backstory because it's important. Those helping me with this understand this is a very happy relationship. I have an appointment scheduled for Monday to get tested. The question I have is, and listen to the question, if I test positive, is it fair that I tell him that he has to marry me, considering he gave me a very stigmatizing dis-ease that could make me undateable in the future and didn't give me the option on whether I wanted to accept the risk or not? And if I test negative, is it possible to stay with someone who has HSV2 without getting it yourself? How do I avoid this? Am I stupid for even considering leaving him? He teared up while holding me after he told me, and he's been so sorry since. I know it's genuine. Okay. I recently came across a video that I thought would give us some extra kind of insight on this. It's by Dr. Natalie Jones, and she's worked with psychopaths and criminals in the penal system. And she has worked with abusers and the abused. And I want you to hear what she has to say about men who are on the down low. Because when I first heard this, right, I was like, this man is abusive. When I heard this, I said, listen, you better get out now before the abuse takes it to the next level, because him not telling her, he stopped her from being able to have a choice. That's what R wordists do. People who SA folks, and in some respects, this is a form of SA and battery. He took away her choice, and he was having, as I'm sure, unprotected intercourse with her for 5 months, knowing that he has this disease. And once he got her good and in love, that's when he's decided to tell her. She claims that she loves him more than anything. After 5 months, honey, after 5 months, I can imagine that she probably told him about her ex and all that other stuff. And he used that information to slide in and show a different side of him. Her ex was probably stingy, so he gave her the quote unquote credit card and told her to pick out something under 800. He didn't even shop for her because he doesn't know her. And any gift he would have gotten wasn't going to be as heart touching as the one she got herself, right? So she's basically his maid, his, as people on TikTok vulgarly say, she's his bang maid as well. She's his cook, housekeeper, house organizer, and live in S doll. And he gives her use of the car, which he probably has trackers on. Part of the reason that she feels that she is quote unquote so in love is because he's most likely hiding parts of his personality. This is an abusive man. A person who really cares about you is going to let you know what the real deal is up front. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and play this video from Dr. Natalie Jones PsyD. I'll put the clip to her video in the description so you have a chance to go watch the whole thing yourself. It's insane. And this woman she's a mother to a toddler, and she's considering marrying a person who put her life at and her health at risk while he knows she's a mother with a young person depending on her. That's not love or care. So in this video, she's talking about men who are on the down low and some of the issues that they have. And I felt that this was very relevant. And when you hear what she has to say, you'll see why.
Presenting themselves as heterosexual to the world, right? But they have a secret homosexual lifestyle, right? I don't think that people are down low because of they're afraid of being labeled as a homosexual or lesbian or things like that. It is a form of narcissism and psychopathy.
Listen.
And if you know anything about narcissists and psychopaths, no one really knows them, right? You may be in a full-blown relationship with them, whether they're gay, straight, or whatever, and they don't allow anyone to get to know the real them. And I would say that this is the same thing for a man who's on the down low. They may be married with kids and things like that, but their wife doesn't know them. She may know aspects of him, right? But even if he's in a relationship with a man or having sex with men, that man doesn't know him either. Again, they may know aspects of them, but they purposefully keep people at a distance. That's one thing. So they keep people at a distance. They're not going to be vulnerable. They're not going to have any emotional intimacy with anybody. So no one's ever going to get close enough to them. No one is ever going to penetrate their heart, right? So to speak, like other people, like I'm in love, this and that, the other. Down low people aren't going to do that. They don't care about hurting people. So that's what makes down low culture so dangerous.
So I want you all to especially listen to the next part. So she's dropping some science about down low culture because these people have a choice. They choose to be down low because they are hiding the true self from their partner. I'm not saying that her man is down low. Goodness knows what he is, but I know that he's a liar. I know that he's an abuser. I know that he doesn't really care or love her. He doesn't. He can't possibly. And I believe that he's hiding aspects of his personality and waiting to get her trapped. You know how many men, especially nowadays, there's this whole red pill incel movement that's going on in the manosphere. And they are telling other men to actually assault women, to push them into having intercourse early, to coerce them. Why? Because our society lambasts women who have had carnal knowledge of men, right? They don't lambast men for having carnal knowledge of women, but a woman's worth, quote unquote, goes down in this society when she's touched a man. So what men try to do is to sully her early, get her touched early so that she is considered quote unquote dirty. And some of these people with STDs want to make you seem quote unquote dirty so that nobody else quote unquote will want you. That way, they're your only alternative. And you see that this young woman is talking about, should I force him to marry me? Woman, you're a mother of a young child, and you're talking about whether or not you're going to have this man in your young child's life for the rest of your life and for all of your child's childhood. You don't know this man like that. It's been 5 months and he took away your choice. This is only the beginning, and he has pulled the wool over her eyes, probably with love bombing, because you see, she says that it's been fireworks ever since. I'm concerned about her pattern of dysfunctional relationships. She had a child from a man whom she wasn't married to, who had mental health issues that she and he ignored until he went and just straight up lost his mind. Now she's gone from that relationship to this relationship with this man who has put her health at risk while she has a young person depending on her. That man does not care about her. And because of the conditioning of our society, she's thinking, because listen, even in the Bible, it says that if you are word a woman, that now you're going to be forced to marry her. Why? Because in biblical days, women were property. Women have been property or considered property for thousands of years, so that if you damage the father, the brother, or the husband's property, because listen, in the early days, our word was not considered a crime. And when it did become a crime, do you want to know what type of crime it was? I know this because I just finished taking a forensic psychology class last semester. What type of crime was it? I'm going to give you all an opportunity to answer in the comments. What type of crime was sexual assault against a woman? It was a property crime. So that if you sexually assaulted a woman, you would have to pay damages to the person who owned her. Just like if you damaged the person's mule or their car or their cart. So, over the years, sexual assault laws have changed to some pretty gruesome stuff where a woman had to yell and yell to a sufficient degree, or had it was bonkers and bizarre. You know that we live in a patriarchy when you see what the early sexual assault laws were, right? So nonetheless, in the Bible it states if you are word a woman, you're going to be forced to marry her, which means that the woman has to marry her R-wordist. And now this woman with her societal programming is asking, should I force him to marry me? If I test positive, is it fair that I told him that he has to marry me? Girl, in that situation, you're the one who would be having to marry him. Stop this. So nonetheless, I want you to hear the rest of what Dr. Jones is saying, because this part right here is where we start to get into how the narcissism and psychopathy relates to STDs and the passing thereof.
Because they don't care who they hurt. They may not use sexual discretion or to wear a condom or things like that to prevent from passing anything. They don't care. And that's why, again, when it comes to STIs and things like that, again, they don't care because they don't take the proper precautions to protect all people involved, including themselves, right? And it's like there's like this sense of entitlement. There's a sense of like, you get what you get. When you get with me, oh well, who cares? There's that. And again, I've witnessed it firsthand working in prison.
All right. So you hear that there, right? I want to tell this young woman, get out now. This man does not love you. It is impossible to love you and take away your choice. Open up your eyes and get yourself help. The fact that you're even considering this shows that you're programming, right? The fact that she didn't bust him full of slaps and call the police, this man needs to be arrested. He needs to be arrested for at least estual battery, at least, because his phallic is a loaded weapon. And he thinks that coming out with a little quote unquote ant bite and telling her now, how many other times did he have whatever was going on? He is claiming that he was in a tumultuous marriage. He also claims that he works 6 days a week and the only times that she can see him are on the weekends. How many of you want to bet that part of the reason that he limits contact with her is because he doesn't want the mask to slip, the facade to slip down? Listen to the women with experience around you. This man is very dangerous indeed. I had a girlfriend when I was in college whose man had HSV too, and he never told her either. And they were having unprotected intercourse. You know how my friend found out? She found out because this man had been having her fulfill his prescription for months, right? And then one day she decided to look up what the drugs were that he was taking. And that's when she found out and she confronted him. And he came up with the same type of thing too. She tested, found out that she was not positive, and she left him. She went on to get married to a man in another very problematic situation. But this man who had the HSV too, he approached me and tried to push up on me one day before she found out all of this, like in the early parts of their relationship. And because of a situation that had existed between she and I in the past, I decided it was best not to tell her because it was only going to cause a rift between she and I. I know better now. I should have told her, but was she the type of person that would have been open to hearing what it is that I had to say? 2 and 2 goes together. This man has poor character. What else is he doing? I doubt she's the only woman. I doubt he's working all those hours. I doubt everything that he said. I know one thing for sure is that this man is dangerous and this woman needs to be very, very careful. Actually, forget being careful. Just get the hell out. Get out. Get out of this relationship. I'll show you all some of the comments I don't think I could stay with someone who lied like that. I actually have it and got it from a friend of over 6 years that I started dating. He knew he had it and he never told me. That wasn't a friend, honey. That was someone who was laying and waiting in the balance, waiting for you to slip up. Person is saying same. I told my current husband before we did the deed. He appreciated the honesty and respected me for it. I haven't had symptoms in over 10 years now. This just goes down to his core character. Exactly. You move someone in with your child way too soon. That's not enough time to really know him. Now you can see that you don't know him. He's a liar who doesn't care that he put your health at risk. Dump him. AH. I know that's right. And someone says, right, she loves him more than anything, quote unquote, at 5 months in. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. He's love bombing her and making her think that he's someone that he's not. Absolutely do not marry someone for that reason, and think seriously if you want to be with someone who lied to you about this. Meanwhile, condoms every single time you have S with this guy, assuming you continue to do so. You can read some of these comments. I'll scroll through. I don't see my comment on here because I guess it didn't get thumbs up because I called him an abuser. And, people on there, as soon as they see that your picture is brown or that you say some stuff that's not popular, they don't thumbs you up. So I don't care. You do not marry someone because they lied to you and gave you an STD. The correct response is to leave him. One, because he lied to you, but also because he did not care about your physical well-being. This is not a little thing. His own comfort was more important to him than yours. This is not love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't sleep with him. So speaking of the test, he paid for the test but never went. That's because he knew. He knew. This was all a setup to begin with. She did the responsible thing by asking about STDs, but she got caught up in the love bombing and let him jump in raw dog without proving that he had nothing. And then how he disparaged his ex. I bet you he was the tumultuous one in that relationship. Listen, leave these people, leave them. Do not allow them to bring you down with the ship. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Be a part of the live show with thousands of other viewers. Go to TanyaTKO.com/text and join the text notification squad and get a text whenever I go live. Support the show and yourself, and I'll see you on the next live broadcast.